Shavua Tov, everyone. Welcome to Tillis Tells Stories for Saturday night. The title of this week's video is Chasidic Philosophy for Muslims. I adapted and supplemented it from ChabadForIsrael.org, where 4 is the numeral, not letters. It was the custom of the Lubavitcher Rebbe to write annual letters to the general Jewish public on the occasion of various holidays and milestones throughout the year, addressed to all Jewish sons and daughters wherever they may be. It would deliver an inspiring message pertaining to some aspect of the upcoming holiday. Although originally written in Yiddish, they were translated into various languages and disseminated all around the globe. The Hebrew translations to these letters were written by renowned author and educator Rabbi Tuvia Bloy. Because he was based in Israel and internet and fax was not yet in use, the Rebbe did not review or edit these translations. However, when the Hebrew weekly magazine called Kfar Chabad began to publish the letters, the Rebbe would review every issue before publication and edit them, or more specifically, edit the letters and perhaps other parts of the magazine as well. Once in the 1980s, after the Rebbe returned the magazine with his edits, Rabbi Blau and the editor of Kfar Chabad Magazine, Rabbi Aharon-Dov Halperin, noticed something unusual. In the original Yiddish letter, the Rebbe used the term Yid, which is the Yiddish word for Jew, and it's usually translated as Jew. Or if he was saying something in Hebrew, he would say Yehudi. But wherever Rabbi Blau had used the term Yehudi in his Hebrew translation, the Rebbe changed the word from Yehudi to Adam, a person. Rabbi Halperin could not contain his curiosity, and he called one of the Rebbe's secretary attendants, Rabbi Label Groner, to clarify the matter. Rabbi Groner, however, had no explanation. This, he exclaimed, is most unusual to me too. Several weeks later, Rabbi Halperin had to travel from Israel to New York. His flight had a stopover in Paris, where he changed planes. During the first leg of his journey from Tel Aviv to Paris, Rabbi Halperin found himself seated next to an Israeli-Arab Knesset member. His name was Muhammad Watid, and he was of the Marxist-associated Mapam party. They began to chat. Mr. Muhammad Watid, Muhammad is the original, Mohammed is the English distortion. Mr. Muhammad Watid was an Israeli-Arab politician who between 1981 and 1988 served as a member of the Marxist Mapam faction of the very left-wing Labour Party in the Knesset. He was the editor of the Arabic language version of the party's newspaper, Al HaMishmar, and after leaving politics, he edited and published the Kul Al-Arab newspaper. On September 24th, 1994, he was killed in a fatal traffic collision. Rabbi Halperin relates, the purpose of his trip was to meet with the members of the PLO in New York. We exchanged views on various political matters, although naturally we disagreed strongly. However, he knew how to present his views in a cultured and fascinating way, and I realized that Mr. Watid was a brilliant man with a profound intellect. My biggest surprise came when Watid said to me, I must admit that I am captivated by the personality of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Although I disagree completely with his political views, I strongly admire him as a person. I regularly read his public letters, which are printed in the newspapers, and his philosophical views, as they are interpreted for day-to-day life, are stimulating. As I was digesting what he had just told me, he began to review for me the entire content of the Rebbe's most recent public letter, which was the very one which the Rebbe had changed the word Jew to person. By the way, Mr. Watid told me, recently a number of party members had protested the inclusion of the Rebbe's letters in our party's socialist Zionist affiliated newspaper, Al Mishma, and almost secured agreement to stop printing them. I got up, though, and argued that in spite of my fundamental disagreement with all the Rebbe's political stances, it would be a shame for this reason to deny thousands of readers the profound philosophical message of these letters, which speaks even to an Arab Muslim like me. Fortunately, my words were convincing enough to influence them to continue the printing. After Rabbi Halperin landed in New York, he went to the world headquarters of the Chabad movement, the Rebbe Synagogue in Crown Heights section of Brooklyn, known by its address 770. He went into the office of the Rebbe's secretariat and told the one on duty at that time, Rabbi Benjamin Klein, about his experiences on the flight, including having shared, and also that he had shared the fact that the Rebbe had changed the word Jew to person in that edition of the magazine. They both agreed that probably the Rebbe foresaw that an intelligent non-Jew was being positively influenced by his letters and decided to address them to people rather than to Jews. Later that day, Rabbi Halperin composed a letter to the Rebbe about his in-air encounter with the Arab Knesset member. He gave the report to Rabbi Klein and asked him to give it to the Rebbe. An hour later, Rabbi Klein found Rabbi Halperin and reported to him that the Rebbe had responded to his letter without even reading it yet. I had driven the Rebbe from his house to 770, and the Rebbe asked me, "What's new? Did someone just arrive from Israel?" I told the Rebbe that you had just arrived and told him the story of your encounter with the Arab Knesset member. I also said that you were curious, Rabbi Halperin, about the changes to the letter. The Rebbe listened to this report with great satisfaction. At the end, he smiled broadly and asked, "Did he, meaning Muhammad Atid, did he not realize that the letter was addressed to all Jewish sons and daughters? That didn't bother him?" Let me add that in my not so humble opinion, that if there would be more Muslims like Mr. Watid, there would be much less war in the world. For information, currently there are 60 wars ongoing around the world, and Muslims are involved in 45 of them on one side or both sides. 75% of the wars. Shavua Tov v'Shana Tova. May 5785 be a year of true Shalom.